No, I like Elizabeth Warren as much as the next lib. I think she's one of the better people in politics as far as what she says when she says stuff and all that stuff, and she seems to be on the side of the regular people as far as economics go. I have lots of problems with how she didn't back a real progressive on Bernie and how she's sad about all. We're going to talk about that coming up, but let's watch this. She's upset at Donnie Tinyhands.
Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren has penned a 7-page open letter to President-elect Donald Trump. Warren just had a little bit too much to say for a simple tweet, criticizing Trump for hiring the very lobbyists and Washington insiders he vowed to drain from the swamp of American politics. Warren wrote, "If you truly stand by your commitment to make government work for all Americans, not just those with armies of lobbyists on payroll, you must remove the lobbyists and financial bigwigs from your transition team."
Okay, that's all well and good, and that's all stuff everybody agrees with. Here's the problem. Why do you only say that about Donnie Tinyhands? Why didn't you say that about Hillary Clinton? She appointed Ken Salazar. The guy who was running her campaign was the biggest lobbyist in the world, John Podesta. One of the biggest, most influential lobbyists in the history of lobbyists. All of a sudden now, Donnie Tinyhands. So do you understand how that's a double standard, right? You get that, right? Okay, so as long as you get that. And, there was a time when she had, you wouldn't even want to make a mark. You could have stood up for Bernie Sanders up against that. You're all upset about people having lobbyists in government. Well, then you should have stood up when it was time to stand up, and you didn't. So that's water under the bridge, and I'll let it go. I really won't. But I was reading this. So because there's something happening. You want to stand. So she wrote a 7-page letter to Donald Trump. How about you write a 1-page letter to your fucking president about what's happening in North Dakota? You want to hear her statement on North Dakota?
Yes.
Me too. Me too. I'm still waiting. Tough guy. Hey, Elizabeth Warren, I'm still waiting. Where's your letter to President Obama? Where's your letter to Hillary Clinton? Or Bill Clinton, whoever? Where's your letter to Loretta Lynch to go out there and stop those cops from brutalizing people? Where is it? Where's your statement? So the problem is whenever time comes to really have guts and stand up for people, she doesn't do it. She knows all the words, just like Barack Obama. She knows all the words, just like Barack Obama. So this is the thing that's disheartening about the Democratic Party. Not one fucking person from the Democratic Party is standing up. Bernie Sanders is. For the people in North Dakota. Nothing. And those people in North Dakota represent everybody. They represent Occupy Wall Street. They represent the teachers in Wisconsin when they ripped their union. Why do they represent them? Because the Democratic leadership didn't do anything to help those people. Barack Obama didn't do a goddamn thing to stand up for workers. He didn't do a damn thing to stand up for teachers. In fact, he wagged his finger at them. And where is Elizabeth Warren? Why don't you say something? Why don't you say something to your goddamn president? Because that takes real courage. And I said it before. The time for courage again, Donald Trump, low-hanging fruit. So this is from The Observer. Senator Warren turns her back on Native Americans after exploiting them. This lack of commitment touted principles has come to define Elizabeth Warren's political career. It's starting to look that way, isn't it? Here's what they say. Warren has claimed Cherokee and Delaware Indian heritage. She has claimed that. But the only proof so far seems to be stories she said she heard from family members as a child. That was in the Washington Post. That's from the Washington Post said that. In an op-ed published by CNN, Simone Moya-Smith, the culture editor at Indian Country Today, demanded Warren apologize to Native Americans. Ever since the controversy surrounding her contested background became public discourse in 2012, when she ran for the U.S. Senate, Warren has avoided Indian country like an X. He wrote. That is seriously problematic for Native Americans, he added. Warren continues to perpetuate a false reality of who Native Americans are today, while in turn, inadvertently or not, encouraging the claims of millions of convenient Indians who self-identify as Native Americans for their own gain. So where is she? Why doesn't she say something? She was glad to say she was a Native American. Well, where are you? Why don't you stand up for them? The people lowest on the social ladder, the lowest rung of the social ladder in America, Native Americans. Why won't you stand up for them? Why won't you stand? You can get to stand up against banks, fossil fuel companies, and you get to stand for the least amongst us, all at the same time, Elizabeth. Why don't you go out there to North Dakota? Why don't you even say something? Why don't you wag your finger at Barack Obama for not doing anything, for being morally bankrupt, which he is? So this is why I have very little hope for the Democratic Party. They go after easy stuff, and when it's time to stand up, they don't stand up. And why don't they stand up? Because the donors pick weak Democrats. They're weak. That's why the only guy with balls came from the Indies and Independent, Bernie Sanders. So, yeah, I'm calling on you, Elizabeth Warren, to finally, for once, show some real balls instead of fake balls when it doesn't take any guts to stand up and say shit. Now it takes guts to stand up and say shit. Stand up against your own party. You had a chance to back a real progressive, and you sat it out. You didn't. You showed moral cowardice. And guess what we have now because of it? Partly because of your moral cowardice. We have Donald Trump. If one goddamn Democrat stood for any fucking thing, they'd be out there right now standing with the people in North Dakota, and maybe they'd have a viable party. Maybe you wouldn't have been wiped out by a bunch of fucking mouth-breathing morons, but you did, because you wag your finger at nobody. You stand up when it's easy. Anybody can do that. And she's the best thing the Democrats have going. That's how pathetic it is. She's the best thing they have going.